So we're all well aware of the current diesel shortage situation, crisis, warning, disaster, panic, go crazy. All right, look, folks, watch my last video. I gave you guys a brief rundown explanation on what could potentially happen if the United States were to run out of diesel fuel. Granted, this is a huge concern. This can be a big problem. This is going to have the ability to affect so many people, so many different ways, so many businesses, people's income, their livelihood, their business. Businesses could literally crumble and collapse as a result of this problem. Now, recent reports are coming in that Tennessee is a hot zone where they're having issues in getting the diesel fuel to Tennessee, which could potentially shut down school buses and prevent children from being able to get to school. Granted, it is a concern, but then there's also questions and comments being posed and asked of, well, why is it so hard to get diesel but not gasoline? And these are all really good, valid questions. But the real question we have to ask and try to get an answer to is what's really going on? Because we know for a fact, and if you don't know, I'm about to tell you that you can only really believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. And at the end of the day, we're being told what we are theoretically supposed to know. Now, the big question is, why are we being told this? What do they want us to do after we know what they tell us is going on? So obviously what they want us to do is panic. They want us to go out and initiate some form of financial and economic let's just say push of the domino because of the news that we have received. We see this all the time. We hear it happen all the time. And at the end of the day, there is a strong push for an agenda. Now, additionally, perhaps maybe this convinces folks that they need to hurry up and get on that green energy push and go out and buy a Tesla, go out and buy a Rivian, go out and buy a Taycan, Porsche Taycan, or whatever electric EV. Go buy a Hummer, the new Hummer H EV. I don't even know what the Hummer's called. It's a Hummer EV. I think Stratman's got one. It's crazy heavy, but it's got like 9,000 horsepower, so it's really fast. But maybe perhaps that's it. But maybe let's look at it from a different perspective. Let's look at it from the fact that we are literally 5 days away from midterm elections. Now, granted, I hope folks are getting out there and casting their votes. That's a topic for another video. However, there's also the ability for early voting as well. And, who wants what and how do they get it, basically. And there was a show that I don't know if you guys watched, but if you haven't, you may want to go check it out. I don't even know how they got the green light to create this show, because in my opinion, I feel as though it is a really accurate representation of what really goes on in our government, with lawmakers, with politicians. And the show is called House of Cards. It was on Netflix. This is back when Netflix had really good things to watch. And it isn't always quite what it seems. I don't want to give away any spoilers or anything, but if you haven't seen it, I recommend you just go at least watch the first season or maybe the first 2 seasons. I think it's done now. I think it's discontinued or canceled or whatever, but there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes from the folks that are theoretically pulling the strings, that they want a certain outcome to happen. Not saying that this is actually what's happening, but let's look at it from the perspective and the position of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, is effectively behind the scenes pulling the strings on the U.S. economy, possibly having some impact and influence on the global economy by manipulating interest rates and making adjustments to the monetary policies. He did it with stocks. He did it with crypto. He did it with the housing market. And there's somebody that is in power that has the ability to make adjustments that he doesn't just go to the New York Stock Exchange and drive up and down stock prices. He doesn't go to neighborhoods and real estate agents and brokerages and change MLS listings and home values and home appraisals. And he doesn't log into mining software and cryptocurrency technology and adjust the price of Bitcoin or Dogecoin or XRP or Ripple or Ethereum. He doesn't do that. But what he does do is he controls and adjusts the knobs and levers that he has access to, which then ultimately have an effect on cryptocurrency, investments, stock market, stock values, S&P 500, the housing market, real estate. So as he's making these adjustments, changes are being made over here, but he doesn't have direct control. But he does know that with certain adjustments, in theory, and based on historical data and trends, certain things will happen over here. And we got to think about that when it comes down to news headlines and stories about diesel fuel shortages, 25 days left, 18 days left, sending all these reserves to other countries, sending them to Europe, to the UK, to the EU, sending money and resources and supplies and military aid to the Ukraine, all we're doing is depleting our resources to send somewhere else so that we are left with nothing. And then we sit here and panic and worry and try to have these meetings and these talks and these summits and these agendas. And then they try to vote, make sure you vote so that that the right side or the wrong side, I'm not saying right or left, saying right or wrong, that the right side gets, control so that we can solve these problems. But it's ironic how these problems tend to be created, or should I say, the solutions to the problems. The solution is vote for me, vote for Pedro. That's the solution. All right, great. I want to win. How do I do that? Well, we need a problem, sir. We need a problem that you can solve. Oh, okay, got it. Great. How about we run out of fuel? Great. All right, we're running out of fuel, but if you want to solve this problem, just make sure you vote for the right team, vote for the right people, vote for the right color, vote for however you want to look at it, and they'll fix it. They'll solve it. We'll be back. We'll have fuel again. And even that isn't as cut and dry as what's really going on, which odds are we will never, ever really find out. And there are so many. You ever see the little shell game, the little cup game, and you got the little card table with the ball underneath and they're moving the cups around. And you got to keep up with where the ball is in the cups. There's like cups within cups on these games. And even the main guy moving it doesn't even know what's going on because there's so many different forces out there working for and against each other for financial gain, for power, for greed, for a push of a theory, an ideology, an agenda towards this ultimate goal, which we get stuck in the middle of and we have to suffer the consequences of in the meantime. All the while, this nonsense is going on behind closed doors, and we're sitting here worrying, scrambling, panicking, suffering from inflation and crazy job markets with some stories of there are plenty of jobs available, jobs are safe, companies are looking to hire, they're bringing on folks to jobs are in danger, people are getting laid off, fired, terminated, there are hiring freezes, staffs are being cut by 20 to 50%. The middle class is going to get wiped out. Inflation is just going to eat up the lower income and those without money and savings and investments and business and credit. Food prices are going to go up. If there's even any food to be had, there will be food shortages. My dog's going to start barking over here. All these things are going on. And it's like, well, where should I even focus first? Well, perhaps maybe we should focus with control what you can control. And what you can control is you, yourself, and your family. You can potentially control your income, as we speak about this in numerous different ways on this channel. And if you want to know more, check the links in the description. You can control your spending to a degree when it comes to wasteful spending and discretionary spending, and tightening up your budget and saving money and creating cash flow producing assets and investing and things like that. Control what you can control. Control how much fuel you have in your vehicle. Control how much fuel you have stored, perhaps, maybe. There are ways that you can store fuel safely and effectively. Control how much emergency money you have in savings or in cash in the safe, which I got a video that I just completed that I'm going to be uploading here soon that is going to kind of really make your wheels turn and think about the whole money and financial monetary system, especially as we move towards a more digital age, a more digital-based currency, CBDC, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or whatever. And in my opinion, based on the research that has been done, and when you guys watch the video, I want to get your take and your comments on it. But our money's not safe at all, especially not in one place. And I'm going to almost double down more so on how much cash I have, which that is a whole nother story, because then the cash isn't really making money. So then the cash is losing money with inflation. So I then need to make sure that that cash is available, but I also need to put that cash into a vehicle that's going to grow and produce more cash. But I also need to diversify my personal finances and my business finances so that I'm not vulnerable to any one single point of failure. And the biggest point of failure right now, when you guys watch this video, I'll tell you, cybersecurity. Huge, big concern, big problem, especially as we move towards this global currency, this central-based digital currency, this one central bank, which then is kind of like everything that I just said to you guys about diversification and not putting all your eggs in one basket is literally like saying we're not going to diversify. We're going to put all of our eggs in one basket as a world with one central bank. Whereas now multiple central banks, none of them can figure out how to get control over the economy, over the monetary system, over inflation, over people's spending, over poverty, over unaffordable houses, over unaffordable cars and crazy high interest rates. They can't do it. So we really want to limit it to just one group of folks out there that don't have our best interest in mind. And at the end of the day, they make calculated moves and manipulations that will have impacts to the housing market, to the auto industry, to interest rates, to stocks, to crypto, to investments, and to ultimately everyone's personal net worth portfolios, that they know what's happening. They know what they're going to do first, and we're left to react based on their moves. Does that seem fair?